BBC News, News Watch. Last updated, Wednesday, 21st of September, 2005, 11:49 GMT, 12:49 UK. A driving force behind BBC shows. Forget Jeremy Paxman and David Dimbleby. It seems that the hero of much current affairs programming is 81-year-old Niven Sinclair, who has delivered thousands of guests to the studio on time. He began in 1977 with a single car on a 3-day job driving guests to the Lime Grove studios for Panorama. Before long his company, Niven Limited, was running all Lime Grove's transport. Today, the company has 92 cars working around the clock for scores of programs. This month the company, one of 11 BBC transport suppliers, is leaving Lime Grove, cutting the final BBC link to the famous old address, for new premises in NW10, not far from White City. Over the years, the wily and determined owner of Niven's has built a reputation for digging programs out of holes. He has even coaxed the odd reluctant statesman into the studios. I went to collect Ted Heath when President Sadat was assassinated in 1981, Mr. Sinclair said. When I got to his house he said he couldn't leave because there was only one security guard with him. But after I told him I'd been a major in the King's African Rifles in the war, and knew he had been a major in the Gunners, he agreed to risk it. Military operation. Niven's says its proud owner is much more than an average minicab company because it is built around the specific needs of television. It's not just a matter of getting someone from A to B. The quality of the program begins the moment you've collected the guest. They have to be in the right frame of mind. That means you have to pick them up on time so they are not rushed and can collect their thoughts before going on air. An overhaul of the service, accompanying the move from Lime Grove to NW10, will allow producers and editors to speak directly to drivers and check where cars are on an online map. For programs like Newsnight, which often needs guests at short notice and late in the evening, this tailored service is much valued. Niven's really comes into its own on election night. Mr. Sinclair, who is still in his office 4 days a week, if not behind the wheel, approaches it like a bloody military operation, attending BBC meetings to make sure he knows where key candidates and constituencies are. This year every guest made it to the studio on time. Niven's strategy of continuing to focus its core business on the BBC is paying off as procurement recently bumped up its share of work at the expense of underperforming rivals. As for the ever-youthful Mr. Sinclair, he's not quite ready for the pipe and slippers. I'll put my feet up when programs no longer need me and when things here can run in such a way that customers don't notice a wrinkle of difference that I've left. Martin Allen Mystery. How case of London teenager missing for 35 years could be linked to the 𝗘𝗆𝗆𝗱𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆 The brothers grew up in a council flat in Hornsey, where their mother was a secretary at Tufnell Park Primary School. They spent weekends ice skating at Alexander Palace. When Alan was 14 and Martin 12, their father started working as chauffeur to the Australian High Commissioner, and they moved to Kensington, where neighbours included Winston Churchill and the De Beers jewellery family. Margaret Thatcher and Ted Heath were regular visitors to the street. "It was quite a change from our council flat," says Alan. "There were garden parties over the fence from us. Thatcher knew my dad to say hello to." The police had originally treated Martin's disappearance as an isolated incident on the London Underground, but Alan believes there is another story. There is an interwoven spider's web. The people who did it all knew each other, went to the same places, used the cars. I would like them to be arrested. He says that the Australian High Commission used a chauffeur firm that had employed the notorious Sydney Cook, who has been convicted for molesting children. Jimmy Savile's chauffeur, David Smith, who last year committed suicide before standing trial on sex charges, is also believed to have connections to the company. Police say no update will be made available relating to this case at this time.